When I first started my channel, it took me way longer than it probably should have to put videos together, but now I can safely say they're no longer projects. Project Power takes place in a world where there's a new drug that gives its users unpredictable superpowers for 5 minutes. A former soldier, played by Jamie Foxx, goes after the criminal organization behind the drug when they kidnap his daughter. Meanwhile, a cop, played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and a drug dealer, played by Dominique Fishback, are also on the lookout for this same organization, as it causes crime to skyrocket. When all three cross paths, they wind up having to work together to take them down. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here and you like movies, whether it be blockbusters, hidden gems, or everything in between, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with reviews of new releases and some classics. Today, let's talk about Project Power. This was just released on Netflix, and it's directed by Henry Joost and Ariel Schulman, who also directed Paranormal Activity 3 and 4, and it's written by Mattson Tomlin, who will be co-writing the upcoming The Batman with Matt Reeves. And for his first foray into the superhero genre, this is actually a nice start, at least in the sense that there was a bidding war for the spec script among a few studios until Netflix got a hold of it. And it's not hard to see why. The concept for this is awesome, and I was very impressed by the trailer, the energy of which translated well into the film itself. It has a lot of stunning visuals, and it can be genuinely exciting. I haven't seen the director's other films they've done between the Paranormal Activity movies and this, but the fact they've gone from a found footage horror movie that mainly just required random objects moving on their own to a superhero movie with some really wild looking concepts like suddenly being fire powered or ice powered for 5 minutes is impressive. The scenes where we see this pill being used and the superhero powers in action are awesome, especially because you don't know whenever these are taken what the superpower is going to be. It could be something like bulletproof skin, super strength, I mentioned the firepower earlier, but not all these are good superpowers. There's a moment where an innocent woman takes one of these pills and her body turns to ice, and it's killing her as a result. And it's a really bone-chilling moment, especially as it's a race against the clock. She's being held hostage, and while she's freezing to death, we see in the background Jamie Foxx trying to fight off the group of people who have her trapped, and he's trying to get rid of them as quickly as possible. So the stakes would be raised because it's not just like you take the pill, you're in a great spot for 5 minutes, and that's it. These things have the potential to literally kill you. And unfortunately, there are times where our characters are being forced into these situations where their normal strength won't be enough to fend off someone they're fighting, and they have to use these pills. So every moment feels like a risk, so it's not just something that will guaranteed always get them out of a tricky situation. While this is a great concept and has some truly entertaining moments, unfortunately for me, this movie didn't totally work. A lot of these great moments are nothing more than that. Moments. The story was where this truly suffered, and it's a film that's less than the sum of its parts. While the marketing makes it seem like all three of these main characters team up from the very beginning and work cohesively, that couldn't be any further from the truth. Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Dominique Fishback are unofficial work friends from the beginning because she gives him tips as to where to find the people responsible for this drug. And then on her own, Dominique Fishback later crosses paths with Jamie Foxx, who forces her to help him, and they don't exactly have a smooth relationship at first. And then later on after that is when Jamie Foxx and Joseph Gordon-Levitt cross paths, and they initially get off on the wrong foot as well. There's a lot of shifting back and forth to these characters just on their own, and as a result, the narrative feels disjointed, sometimes aimless, and honestly kind of generic to a degree. The only one who has very fleshed out motivations from the very beginning is Jamie Foxx. He's trying to find his daughter, so this is a very personal mission for him, but even that feels kind of wasted because we barely ever see his daughter, mostly just in very brief flashbacks that last only for a few seconds, so we never feel the emotional stakes we probably should feel from seeing them reunited. I never felt like I was looking forward to it because I don't even know who this person is that he's looking for. We're introduced to both Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Dominique Fishback first, but their whole motivation for the first half is just find the bad guy. There's a little bit more explored with Fishback than Joseph Gordon-Levitt, like there's a moment early on when she's in school and her teacher's berating her and she imagines what she would really want to say to him, and later on as she gets more involved with Jamie Foxx, the villains start threatening her family, but for the most part there isn't too much explored with either of them, and both characters kind of feel one-dimensional as a result. But that's not to say any of the performances are bad. All three are great actually. Jamie Foxx is a very charismatic lead, and whenever he'd get into a confrontation with someone he's looking for, those would be a lot of fun. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is also fantastic. Between this and 7500, it was nice to see him return to lead roles again this year, as he hasn't had a major role since Snowden in 2016. And I also like Dominique Fishback. I've only seen her in one other movie before this. She had a small supporting part in The Hate U Give, which is a great movie by the way. but this is the first time I'm seeing her in a lead role, and she handles the material very well. And it's these performances that make us even remotely care about the characters, because if we were to go by the writing alone, I wouldn't be sold. Between this, and especially the fact that the villains, this criminal organization who makes this drug, are totally unmemorable. They say nothing memorable, do nothing memorable, and they barely leave an impression. And some moments just felt a bit underwhelming. Tonally, it felt all over the place, and the story structure had this rinse and repeat vibe to it. One of our heroes would get into a confrontation with someone they're looking for, there'd be a fight for 5 minutes and it would be exciting and sometimes even comical, they'd then be on the move, and then there'd be a long stretch where the conversations felt too serious and very depressing, and it would cycle back and forth between these two to create a repetitive formula, and it just caused the movie to drag at certain points. It's 2 hours, and while I had fun during a number of moments, I definitely felt that runtime. Overall, this isn't bad, but it could have been a lot better. It's a cool concept, and whenever there's a moment where the directors are allowed to capitalize on that concept, it's awesome. The visuals are stunning, and the action is exciting, plus it has 3 great performances from very likable leads. Unfortunately, the script is weak and kind of generic whenever we'd focus on something other than the fight scenes. There's little characterization, and the story is disjointed. It's on Netflix. If you're interested, there's enough that it might be good for a one-time watch, but there's honestly better stuff out there. Project Power gets a 6 out of 10. Meanwhile, I'll have the final part of my Christopher Nolan series coming out very soon, where I'll be discussing Dunkirk. If you like Nolan's movies, definitely stick around for that, and if you haven't seen my other Nolan reviews, check them out as well when you can. I'll have that and more 2020 reviews coming out soon. So let me know, did you see Project Power, or are you planning to see it, and what were your thoughts? Did you like the concept? Did you find it entertaining? And what's one of your favorite superhero movies that isn't Marvel or DC? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it, and for more movie reviews and film discussion, please make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll catch you next time.